In 1932, Australia declared war on emus. We lost, goddammit, but I will have revenge. So join me in today's challenge where I have 10 colonists and 20 days to prepare before 2,000 emus hungry for flesh, blood, and bone attack us. Can we right the wrongs of history, or will my hubris lead to another embarrassing defeat? For this challenge, I needed experts. I checked the sewers, looked under bridges, was legally required to stay 100 feet away from playgrounds at all times. I found myself in Diesel, the gay bar on 14th Avenue. And even checked the local methadone clinic. Ultimately, I assembled the perfect ragtag crew, including schizophrenics, drug addicts, and sexists, all named after commenters on my latest videos. If anyone could pull off a genocide, it's these 10 brave souls. Day 1, I made a gentle descent into the mountains. Then, like some kind of small rodent or perhaps a 5'10" man, repeating myself there, I felt an intense fear and the need to bury myself. Then we stumbled into a clearing. Steep mountains, low valleys, choke points? Yep, this was uninvadable. We quickly set up a crude shelter because, trust me, you do not want to spend the night in the Australian wilderness.
You're the Australian beast.
So we passed out to the gentle sound of rain hitting our faces. Good morning, I hope you slept well. I didn't. More like I couldn't, because I was thinking. Come here. Emus live across Australia, except they went extinct on Kangaroo Island, the Tasmanian Island, and King Island. Maybe that's easily explained by kangaroos and Tasmanian devils, but what about King Island? Well, they only went extinct after British colonization, making Australia part of the British Empire, an empire ruled by the monarchy. A monarchy now led by a king, King Charles III. The Third Reich ruled Germany when Eugene William Schwab moved there before becoming the father of Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab, father of the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum wants you to eat the bugs. Bugs are eaten by emus, allowing them to grow and lay eggs. Eggs that, if you examine their color, have an RGB value of 28, 74, and 8. 28,748 kilometers squared is the area of Albania. Albania's flag features a bird. You'll be told it's an eagle. Wrong, it's an emu. Albania emus do what though? Well, if you rearrange it, emus did 9/11. Days passed uneventfully. We gathered wood. A sweatshop was dedicated to research, but mostly we tried to keep sane. Hours of horseshoe and an Ethiopian fad diet was doing the trick. For now. Day 6, we had our first raid, an emu sympathizer threatening our plans. He was used as target practice before being put down like the troglodyte he was. Later, a fight broke out and Cat beat the shit out of Soloff. I'm sorry, but it wasn't even close. Anyways, Cat then played Doctor, which I'm pretty sure is a violation of Hippocratic Oath. Luckily, by this point, I was about 3 bottles of Vicodin deep and a big fan of medical malpractice. You know, I believe this fight was a sign that we were becoming unwieldy. A smog of violence choked the air. Could we keep our wits and turn the Geneva Convention into the Geneva Checklist? Or would the bloodthirst prove too great and send us back to the Stone Age, which, all things considered, is about a week? Day 9, I read Sun Tzu's Art of War. Well, technically, I got ChatGPT to summarize it and then turned that summary into a Minecraft parkour storytime. It's basically the same thing. I also did research into what actually counts as a war crime, and I made a plan. We would stall the emus by building an endless hallway and forcing them to shuffle through in a single file. The days passed quickly. We researched catapults, continued construction, we built catapults, and evolved to gunsmithing. Arrow turrets, spike barricades, and our final stand.
Get ready to lose some pounds. Get ready to get shot from the ditch. Get ready to get the acid baths. But first you're gonna get
was here. As dawn broke on the 20th day, Red, equipped with Molotov, set fire to the landscape, and it's raining. As dawn broke on the 20th day, Red, equipped with Molotov, set fire to the conveniently roofed hallway. And I realized, like Jesus carrying the cross, I too have a burden I must carry, because I have essentially made a BTD6 map. Some sins cannot be escaped so easily. Amen. The emus arrived, 2,000 strong. Time began to crawl. Not from the tension or anything, my GPU was just having a panic attack.
What the?
I watched as a mass of beak, feather, and claw slowly unfurled, an eldritch beast consuming the lands, their only goal to bring about our total destruction. Rocks fell from the skies, a direct hit, but it did little to thin their numbers. They marched forward, unfeeling, unthinking. I'm convinced this is no longer 2,000 emus, but instead a single hive mind. More fell to the catapults, but soon they were at the hallway. No hesitation, no fear, they entered the oven. Apparently doing my best to turn the colony into some commie 15-minute city, between the fires and the catapults, we breached a hole in the walls of the hallway before the emus could even make it to the first turn. Bad news is, we're going to be seeing them soon. Good news is, my polling numbers among emu populations are through the roof. Despite the tunnel reaching some nice balmy temperatures of above 300 degrees, the emus weren't phased. At this point, I began to wonder if we could be the winner and get our chicken dinner. Before long, the emus were more than halfway through the tunnel. Many were dead, but it wasn't enough. Then, bruised, bleeding, and burning, they escaped. But not ones to back down from a fight, we held the holy shit, we gotta get out of here. Now let me be clear, we did not run. This was a tactical retreat.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Gentlemen, it seems the retreat had a 90% casualty rate. Frankly, I'd call that a success, and I'd just like to take a moment to remember those who perished. Anyways, alone, naked, and scared is how I spend most of my Tuesday nights. However, that is also the situation we find ourselves in now. Revenge would have to wait. First, we needed to survive. Not beholden to the previous 20-day time limit, I had room to breathe. However, survival was still no easy feat. For now, we needed shelter. Luckily, after living in a cave for the last 3 weeks, Red's expectations were about as low as mine are on Tinder. That is to say, we would settle for just about anything. Now, while a hunter-gatherer lifestyle could work, I personally would like to consider us more civilized than the filthy cretins I call neighbors, and so more stable food production would be necessary.
Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker.
With the addition of a few horseshoe poles, soon enough our shithole had become a shit home, and finally we could rest. After a brief yet pleasant encounter with shadow people, I have experienced a divine revelation. The complete and total destruction of all emu infidels isn't enough to satisfy me. I need more. This holy war may have started with emus, but it will not end until this entire goddamn planet is under my control. Starting with the Gentle Tribe. Very simple people. So simple, in fact, that they've already sold their lives to me in exchange for some grilled cheese and 24/7 wrestling videos. I almost feel bad. Almost. With our newfound slaves, I mean respected employees, we began expanding our influence. Like the Amish, we dealt in natural animal hides, organic fruit and vegetables, high-powered assault rifles, and fresh meat. These prosperous times, however, didn't last, and I didn't like how the rough Outlander Union was looking at me. So, unfortunately, they left me no choice but to attack them in self-defense. Now, what we may have lacked in intelligence, we made up in numbers, because you know what they say, incest is wincest for the chromosomally challenged. The Outlander Union tried to put up a good fight, however, they were no match for our overwhelming brave warriors. I think when they realized using child soldiers was not only not beneath me, but instead I was excited to do so, they finally surrendered. Back at the colony, and we were living comfortably. Well, Red was. Our Neolithic roommates, let's call them, were still working long days, eating ultra-processed 100% unnatural hot dogs, and sleeping in jizz-soaked bedsheets. But before long, I had to deal with the fierce and savage tribes. Luckily, I had a scheme. First, I replaced 60% of our food production with psychite leaf. If you're worried about starvation, don't be. There's plenty of food around if you're willing to do what it takes. Next, we mix the leaves with animal manure to make fertilizer, which is brought to Gabino, a man living in the woods. He then sifts through the shit picking out all the leaves. I would pay him, but he insists on doing it for free. Here, Gabino also crushes the leaves into a fine white powder, which is sold to a factory as powdered glue. The owner of this factory? Herbert. Genetically unrelated, but legally my half-brother's daughter, like a quarter daughter. Or my quarter for short. This sweatshop makes all the racist statues. Well, they don't have to be racist, but let's be real, they usually are. Now, remember that powdered glue we were using? Well, I lied. It's actually hard drugs. Bricks and bricks of yayo are smuggled using these statues. I then buy these statues and donate them to a local city council as a gesture of goodwill, thereby spreading yayo into the tribal neighborhoods and causing irreparable harm within the communities, increasing violent crime, incarceration, homicides, you name it, all the while keeping my hands clean of any involvement. Who is it? William J. Casey, former CIA director under the Reagan administration? Huh? We don't need to hide it. We can openly disenfranchise fellow citizens with little to no consequence? Political assassinations? Well, in that case, yeah, we did it. We introduced Yayo into the tribal settlements. That was us. Well, with tribal crime now out of control, they shouldn't cause any problems in my new world. Our wealth and influence grew. Few factions now stood between me and total power. In a commendable act of self-preservation, the Civil Outlander Union bowed down to revere us as their gods. Mind you, they were still subjugated, but, you know, being of low caste is better than being of no caste, where the pirates tried to resist, so I called in a few favors, and now they are less than a fine red mist. They are less than the ash carried on the wind. They have been atomized. If they're lucky, the memory of their miserable existence will be saved as a shadow where they stood. Finally, we had conquered the world. No one stood before us. Every colonist, every creature, even the very land would bend to our will. This was our planet, all of it ours. And yet, despite everything, there was something nagging at me. Was the oven left on? No, it can't be. I never cook. I don't even DoorDash. Instead, I hire a private chef. Was rent due? Obviously not for me, but certainly for the single mothers in my duplex. Last chance to pay before they're evicted. So just what was it? One night, tossing and turning, it hit me. The stench of blood-soaked feathers, beaks rending flesh, talons crushing bones. Those fucking emus, they took everything and they never paid. But now they would pay the ultimate price. We mobilized everything at our disposal. This would be our masterpiece, our succès d'estime. After many long days and tireless nights that all conveniently happened off-screen for no particular reason, definitely not because I really needed to wrap this up, not like I wanted to post this before semester even started, and now I have actually finished my degree, and wow, look at all this beautiful B-roll. Everything was in its place. We returned to the battlefield, scorned by our avian enemy, but we would no longer be humiliated. Using nuclear fusion, we harnessed the power of the very stars to wipe these emu fucks off the face of our planet. No record of their extinction would remain. Nothing less than complete and total victory. Maybe that was a little overkill. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the saga of our great Emu War, and I hope to see you next time.